All right, this is the key for the Target 7 final review. First thing we're going to do is rewrite into exponential form. So if we remember, the root goes in the bottom of our denominator and the power goes in the numerator. So when we rewrite this in exponential form rather than radical form, we're going to have 2x, and since those are both underneath the radical, they go together to the 1/7 power. For number 2, if you have a radical with no root given, it's root 2, so that's going to be 21 to the 1/2 power. Power goes on the top, numerator on the, or the root on the bottom, so negative 3a. Group that in parentheses since it's all underneath the radical, to the 2/5 power. 6x to the or 6x cubed y gets grouped together. We've got a power of 5 and a root of 2. Here we've got x to the 2/4 power, which you can make that x to the 1/2, reduce your fraction. And then finally, 8xy to the 1/2. Number 7, now we're going the other direction. So numerator is our power, denominator is our root. So this will be the 5th root of 10. Number 8, since 3x is together, that's going to go underneath the radical. The root goes here, and it's raised to the 4th power. The root is 2. And since you don't need to write the 2 there, but that would be square root. Number 10, we've got negative 9. That is the 5th root with our power of 2. Number 11, 3x to the 5th goes underneath the radical. Our root is 4. And the last one, ab, with a root of 6. So 6th root of AB. For this one, we're going to follow the reverse order of operations. Start with addition, subtraction. Then we're going to do multiplication and division, then exponents, and then we're going to finish with parentheses. So with this one, we're going to divide by 4. 6 equals the cubed root of 2x minus 8. That was our multiplication division. Now we're going to get rid of our radical. We're going to cube both sides. So 216 equals 2x minus 8. Add 8. $224 equals 2x, divide by 2, and x equals 112. For number 14, we've got addition, subtraction, so we're going to subtract 2. Now we're going to get rid of our exponent. We're going to raise that to the 3/2 power. So that frees up the x plus 2. That gives us the square root of 9 cubed. Square root of 9 is 3, and then 3 cubed is 27. Subtract 3 from both sides, and we get 24. For number 15, if we have cube roots on both sides, you can cube both sides, which gets rid of the radical. That leaves 2x plus 10 equals 7x minus 18. Now we just solve the equation. Subtract 2x. We're going to add 18. And then finally divide by 5. So you can leave that as x equals 28/5. For number 16, we want to get rid of the radical, so we're going to square both sides. That gives us x minus 1 times x minus 1 equals x plus 11. That cancels out the radical. Foil this, we get x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals x plus 11. Subtract x, subtract 11. X squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. We're going to factor and solve, so x minus 5, x plus 2, x equals 5 and negative 2. We're going to plug that back in, though. We want to check our answers, and you'll find that if you plug in negative 2, you end up with negative 3 equals positive 3. So x just equals 5. For this first one, we want to get the radical by itself, so square root of 4x equals x minus 3. We're going to square both sides. 4x equals x minus 3 times x minus 3. That gives us 4x equals x squared minus 6x plus 9. We want to subtract 4x over so we can factor. So x minus 9, x minus 1. So x equals positive 9 and positive 1. If we plug this back in, we're going to find that 1 does not work. So the answer is just x plus 9. Number 18, we're going to square both sides. So x minus 8 equals square root of x plus 2 times the square root of x plus 2. Foil that, and we get x minus 8 equals x plus 4 square root x plus 4. We're going to subtract, we're going to subtract x and 4. Those cross out, so we get negative 12 equals 4 times the square root of x. Divide by 4. And if we square both sides, x equals 9. Now if we plug this back in, we get the square root of 1 on one side, and the square root of 9 plus 2, which gives us 5. We get 1 equals 5, which is not true, so 9 is extraneous. Which gives us no solutions. For the last page, we are going to graph cube roots and square roots. So remember, when you are graphing the square root, or the cube root, we want this number underneath the radical to be negative 8, negative 1, 0, 1, and 8. So in order to get that, negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1. And 9 minus 1 is 8. So we're going to plug those numbers in. When we plug negative 7 in, negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8. Cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. Plus 3 is 1. If we keep plugging those in, we're going to get 0 gives us 2 for y. 1 gives us 3. 2 gives us 4. And 9 gives us 5. If we plot these now, we get negative 7, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, and 9, 5. Draw our line. And so now, with cube root functions, domain and range are both all real numbers. For square root, we want to get 0, 1, 2, and 4, since there's nothing being added. Square root of 0 is 0, times negative 1 is 0, plus 2 is 2. Square root of 1 is 1, times negative 1 is negative 1, plus 2 is 1. For that I meant 0, 1, 4, and 9. Square root of 4 is 4, times negative 1 is, square root of 4 is 2, times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 2 is 0. And then square root of 9 is 3. That becomes negative 3, plus 2 is negative 1. So 0, 2, 1, 1, 4, 0, and 9, negative 1. We won't have any negative numbers for x, since you cannot take the square root of a negative. The domain starts at 0 and goes to infinity, and the range starts at negative infinity and goes to 2. Square root again. So now that we have plus 1 in there, we want 0, 1, 4, and 9. We're going to plug negative 1, 0, 3, and 8 in there. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0, times 3 is 0, minus 2 is negative 2. 0 plus 1 is 1, square root of 1 is 1, times 3 is 3, minus 2 is 1. 3 plus 1 is 4, square root of 4 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6, minus 2 is 4. 8 plus 1 is 9, square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9, minus 2 is 7. So we've got our points. Negative 1, negative 2, 0, 1, that should be negative 1, negative 2, 0, 1 there, 3, 4, and 8, 7. So now our domain goes from negative 1 to infinity, and our range goes from negative 2 to infinity. And our final one, we've got another cube root with just x underneath. So negative 8, negative 1, 0, 1, and 8. Cube root of negative 8 is negative 2, times negative 2 is 4. Cube root of negative 1 is negative 1, times negative 2 is 2. Cube root of 0 is 0 times negative 2 is 0. Cube root of 1 is 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. And the cube root of 8 is 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Plot our points. And once again, all real numbers and all real numbers.